Hello. Today we are going to be talking about myth, as you probably guessed from the title. And I love myth. It's something I use in my own writing quite often. Some philosophers have really focused on myth. Carl Jung was huge on myth, and Joseph Campbell, his whole career was dedicated to exploring the power of myth. And there's a reason for that. Myth is a very compelling thing. It helps cultures define what is important to them. And not only that, but it says something about what it means to be human and also imbues day to day life with this sense of wonder and magic, which I think is definitely missing in our culture today. We think that because we've figured out how the universe came to be and we figured out what everything is made of, we've broken it down to its atomic essence, we know everything and there is no magic anymore. And that's a sad thing. I think our lives, however we view them, whatever religious background we come from, are a great gift, and we should always have this sense of wonder and adventure and magic because we are living our own myths. So we are going to be exploring today primarily the myth of Persephone, which is a Greek myth, and I'm just going to give you a quick retelling of it if you don't know it. It is about Persephone, who was the daughter of the goddess Demeter and Zeus. And Demeter loved Persephone very much. Persephone lived with her mother, and she was a very innocent, beautiful goddess. And one day she was out in a field playing with her friends, and the god of the underworld, Hades, the god of the dead, saw Persephone, and he fell instantly in love with her, and he basically kidnaps her and drags her to the underworld. And Persephone longs for her mother, and Demeter longs for Persephone, and Demeter is trying to get Persephone to come back up to the top. She curses the whole world because she's in mourning. She's the goddess of nature, so she makes winter come, no crops will grow. And there is a deal made basically that if Persephone doesn't eat anything when she's in the underworld, she will be allowed to come back to her mother. Well, Hades, being so in love with Persephone that he can't stand to let her go, tricks her into eating 7 pomegranate seeds while she is in the underworld. And each pomegranate seed represents a month of the year. So for every pomegranate seed she eats, she has to stay with Hades and away from her mother. So for 7 months a year, every year, Persephone is in the underworld with Hades and her mother is in mourning, which means winter happens on Earth. When Persephone is finally allowed to return to her mother, she rises and the world turns into springtime. So she is a goddess of spring and a goddess of resurrection and a goddess of the underworld. But the stories that I will be showing you are different tellings of Persephone. I'm going to show you a video that is basically just the story of Persephone. And then I'm going to show you a song by a singer named Roger Clyne, which is the story of Persephone from Hades' perspective. And in many tellings of this myth, Hades is the bad guy, and he's a rapist, and he's a kidnapper. But in Roger Clyne's telling of the story, Hades is a man who is just deeply in love with Persephone, and it becomes this tender, beautiful song about love overcoming death. And then I have a song here that shows the story of Persephone from Demeter, Hades, and Persephone's points of view. And then I have a poem that I've written from the point of view of Persephone, and also a poem that another one of our associates has written from the point of view of Persephone, just to give you an idea of what can happen to a myth and how we can say different things about what it means to be human by writing the myth from another perspective. And then I'm going to ask you to write your own myth. It can be any myth. It can be Greek, it can be Roman, it can be Native American, it can be Chinese, whatever myth you want to tell. I want you to retell it from a perspective that means something to you, a perspective that hasn't been seen before, a perspective that says something maybe about your own life or something about what it means to be human. And again, there are no wrong ways to do this. I just want you to explore myth and start to get that sense of magic and wonder that comes through myth back in your own lives. I hope you have a wonderful time writing, and I can't wait to see what you write.